Ever catch yourself like daydreaming? You know about ditching the whole 9 to 5 thing for something a little more,
Oh, yeah.
maybe something where you're creating something, you're setting your own hours, and maybe even working from that beachside cafe you've always dreamed of?
Sounds familiar.
Well, today we're diving into a review of the Copywriting Masterclass ebook to see if that dream could be closer than you think.
I think that's a really interesting choice because, this ebook review we're looking at, it's not just about learning to write, catchy taglines or anything like that.
Right.
It's about exploring like a whole new career path,
Yeah.
one that has some serious potential for you to actually have freedom and flexibility.
And the reviewer in this ebook review really lays out how appealing copywriting can be.
Yeah.
They talk about being totally tired of the corporate world and being drawn to a job that lets you be creative on your own terms and work from anywhere.
Anywhere.
But they also realize it's not all sunshine and roses.
Right.
It's a real skill that you need to learn and get good at.
And that's where I think this deep dive into the ebook gets really interesting.
Yeah.
The reviewer found that this ebook didn't just teach them how to write copy that's persuasive.
Mm-hmm.
It gave them the practical knowledge to actually be a successful freelancer.
Oh, wow.
Like contracts, invoices, taxes,
All the stuff you don't think about.
all that essential stuff that nobody tells you about.
They learned all that for less than $10. I mean, that's cheaper than my Friday night takeout usually.
Seriously, it's incredibly affordable,
Wow.
especially considering what you could get back from it.
Right.
But what I think is even more interesting is the reviewer found out they could use AI, like ChatGPT,
Okay.
to help them become a better copywriter.
Okay, now we're talking AI and copywriting, and this is where I get interested.
Right.
So the reviewer was amazed by how fast ChatGPT could come up with different headlines and copy variations.
Yeah, it's like having this brainstorming partner
Totally.
that's always on and never gets tired.
That never runs out of ideas.
Exactly.
Love it.
And it's a great example of how AI is really changing what people think of as creative work.
Right.
These tools, they're not here to like replace writers, but they could definitely help us be more efficient and try more creative things.
So it's not about AI taking over, it's about AI boosting our own creative powers.
Exactly.
Okay.
And speaking of creative power, the ebook goes into the art of persuasion,
Okay.
which is really the core of good copywriting.
Right.
And it brings up this thing called the AIDA formula.
Okay.
It stands for attention, interest, desire, and action.
Now, I've heard of AIDA before,
Yeah.
but I never really understood how to use it.
Yeah, so how does this ebook actually teach you to use this formula? Well, the reviewer used AIDA to make a sales page for an online course.
Okay.
And guess what? It actually worked.
Wow.
They saw way more conversions,
Nice.
which proves this old formula still works.
That's awesome.
Pretty impressive,
Yeah.
right? But it sounds like this ebook did more than just explain formulas.
Uh-huh.
It had all kinds of practical resources,
Okay.
like lists of powerful words and calls to action.
Yeah. So like real tangible things that copywriters can use.
Exactly.
Can you give us some examples?
Absolutely. The reviewer found that the ebook's list of power words included words that evoke really strong emotions,
Okay.
create urgency, and even tap into our deepest desires,
Like what?
like exclusive, guaranteed, or even life-changing.
Oh, yeah.
They can instantly make your writing more compelling.
So it's not just about like stringing words together. It's
Right.
about choosing the right words to
Exactly.
get a specific impact.
It's almost like psychology.
It kind of is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's less about writing and more about psychology.
Effective copywriting, it does involve understanding people
Yeah.
and using language to influence their thoughts and behaviors.
Okay, so the reviewer is obviously getting a lot of knowledge from this ebook,
Oh, yeah.
but they were also really drawn to the lifestyle changes that copywriting seems to offer, that whole work from anywhere thing.
For sure.
And apparently for this reviewer, it wasn't just a dream.
Right.
They actually started working on projects while traveling.
That's so cool.
I know, and that's what I find so inspiring about this whole story.
Ew.
They gotta have a real work-life balance by combining their love for writing with their desire for freedom and flexibility.
They really did.
They turned their dream into a reality.
Yeah.
I have to say, that image of working on a laptop from a beach in Bali is pretty tempting.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But it's also important to remember that it takes work and dedication
Oh, absolutely.
to build a freelance career.
It's not just cocktails by the pool.
Yeah, you're not just sipping cocktails by the pool.
No, you need discipline.
Yeah.
You need to be organized. And you need a strong work ethic.
Right. But the rewards can be amazing,
Yeah.
especially for those who want to be in charge of their own work life.
Totally. And that's where those real-life examples the reviewer mentions are so important.
Yeah, those stories of other people who've made it as copywriters.
They're so powerful because they show you it's actually possible. Yes.
To make this kind of career change.
Totally.
They give you a roadmap.
Yeah. And one story that really stuck with me was about a former corporate worker who became a globe-trotting copywriting guru.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
I mean, talk about a total life transformation.
It really shows you that copywriting can open up so many possibilities.
Right.
Both professionally and personally.
Yeah, and it all started with a simple ebook.
That costs less than a movie ticket.
It's amazing.
All right.
It really is.
So we've seen how copywriting can be an escape from the traditional 9 to 5, how it needs both writing skills and business savvy,
For sure.
and how it can lead to a more flexible and fulfilling lifestyle.
Totally.
But I'm curious to know more about the specific techniques and strategies that the ebook covers.
Oh, yeah, me too.
So let's dive deeper into that in the next part of our deep dive.
One of the things that really hit me about the reviewer's experience was how much they stressed understanding your target audience.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about writing good stuff.
Right.
You really need to know who you're writing for.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, you wouldn't use the same kind of language to sell a luxury car as you would a kid's toy, right?
Exactly.
Mm.
The ebook really pushes the need to research your audience, understand their needs and their desires,
Okay.
and then you can tailor your language accordingly.
Gotcha.
They even go into detail about making these detailed customer personas.
What are those?
Basically, it's like getting into the minds of your ideal clients.
So it's like you're some kind of detective,
Kinda.
piecing together all these clues to see what makes your audience tick.
Yeah, it's a really valuable skill.
I bet no matter what kind of writing you're doing.
You treat that.
Totally.
And this leads right into another big concept from the ebook,
Oh, what's that?
brand voice.
Okay.
It says that every single piece of copy you write should match the tone and personality of the brand you're working for.
Oh, so you're not just writing whatever you want.
Right.
You're like the voice of the brand.
You become the voice.
That's pretty intense.
It's definitely complex.
But it sounds really interesting, too.
It is, and that's one of the things that makes a good copywriter stand out from someone who's just starting out.
Oh, yeah.
A really good copywriter can mix their style with the brand's voice.
Okay, so we talked about knowing your audience and mastering the whole brand voice thing.
Right.
But what about the different types of copywriting?
Oh,
Is it all just like sales pages and websites?
Actually, the ebook goes into a bunch of different niches,
Okay.
each with its own skills and challenges.
Like what?
Well, there's direct response copywriting,
Okay.
which is all about getting people to act right away.
I know those ads.
Like those ads that say buy now
Yeah.
or call today.
Sometimes they really work.
They do.
So what other kinds are there?
There's content marketing,
Okay.
which is about creating content that attracts a specific audience.
I see.
Stuff like blog posts, articles, even social media posts.
Oh, wow.
And then there's email marketing, writing emails that build relationships with customers and lead to sales.
So copywriting is everywhere.
It really is.
And with all these different niches,
Yeah,
it seems like there's something for everybody.
exactly. The ebook even encourages new copywriters to try different things out
Oh, cool.
and find what they like best.
That's awesome. Now, we were talking earlier about how AI is changing things for copywriters,
Right.
but the ebook doesn't pretend there are no downsides, right?
Oh, no, it doesn't.
What does it say?
The reviewer knows there are ethical issues around content made by AI,
Yeah.
like plagiarism and even the possibility of spreading fake news.
So how do you navigate that?
Well, the ebook really stresses using AI responsibly.
Okay.
It says that AI should help human creativity, not replace it.
I like that.
Like you could use AI to get ideas or get over writer's block.
Makes sense.
But in the end, it's the human who needs to make sure the content is original and accurate.
We need to be smart about using AI, but we can't ignore how it can make us better writers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about finding that sweet spot between using tech and keeping good writing principles.
Okay, so getting back to that successful sales page the reviewer made.
Yeah.
You mentioned they used the AIDA formula, but what else did they do?
So they talked about how they grabbed the reader's attention with a killer headline,
Okay.
one that highlighted the biggest benefit of the course.
Nice. And
Then they used storytelling to keep the reader interested,
oh, cool.
adding in their own stories and relatable examples.
So it's not just like a list of features and benefits.
No way.
You got to create a story
Exactly.
that pulls the reader in.
And to make people want the course,
Uh-huh.
they focused on how the reader could be transformed by taking it.
Oh, see.
painting this picture of all the great outcomes.
So it's about showing how the course can help them reach their goals.
Exactly. And to get them to actually take action,
Yeah.
they used really strong calls to action.
Like what?
Stuff that creates a sense of urgency
Okay.
and makes it super clear what to do next.
So you're kind of taking them on a journey from being curious to taking action.
You got it. The ebook breaks down each step of that AIDA formula
Nice.
and gives you tips and examples so you can write your own persuasive stuff.
Awesome. Now let's talk about that former corporate worker.
The one who became a globe-trotting copywriting guru.
Yes. What did they do to become so successful?
The reviewer pointed out that this person wasn't afraid to focus on one specific area of copywriting.
Oh, so they niched down.
Yeah, they became the expert in writing website copy for tech startups,
Smart.
which meant they could charge more
Uh-huh.
and get a steady stream of well-paying clients.
So it's not just about being good with words.
Right.
It's about making yourself the go-to person in a hot market.
Exactly. And they also spent a lot of time building their online presence.
Oh, okay. How?
They made a killer website,
Yes.
wrote guest blogs for industry magazines,
Cool.
and even networked with potential clients on social media.
So you need to market yourself too.
Oh, yeah. It's not enough to just have the skills.
We're
They
not.
need to build a good reputation.
Makes sense. And what else?
This person also stressed the importance of always learning new things.
Oh, wow.
They were always going to workshops, reading books, and staying up to date on all the latest trends.
So they treated their career like a business.
They did. They were always
Yeah.
investing in themselves.
That's a really important lesson for anybody who wants to go freelance.
For sure.
You got to treat it like a business.
Not a hobby.
Okay, so we talked about the freedom and flexibility copywriting gives you,
Uh-huh.
but what about the downsides of freelancing?
Yeah.
Does the ebook talk about that?
It's funny you mention that because the reviewer does say that freelancing isn't always easy.
Oh, really? What do they say?
They talk about the challenges of managing your own time,
Oh, yeah.
dealing with income that's not always consistent,
I see.
and feeling isolated when you're working from home.
So it's not all beaches and travel.
It can be,
Right.
but you got to be real about the tough parts too.
So what do they suggest?
Well, they say it's important to get good at managing your time,
Okay.
setting boundaries between work and life,
Mm-hmm.
and connecting with other freelancers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Freelancing can be awesome,
Totally.
but you need to be ready for the challenges.
And this ebook gives you tips for doing that?
It does. It helps you build a career that works for you.
This whole deep dive into the Copywriting Masterclass has been so informative.
It really has.
We learned about persuasion AI niching down
Yeah,
and the ups and downs of freelancing.
for sure.
But there's one more thing I'm curious about. We've talked about all the technical stuff like formulas and strategies and AI tools,
Right.
but what about the mindset shift?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you actually go from a regular job to being a freelance copywriter?
That's such a good question.
Hmm.
The reviewer actually mentions this.
Oh, they do?
They say that self-belief and resilience are super important.
Okay.
They talk about imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
that feeling of, who am I to charge people for my writing?
Oh, I totally get that.
It's so easy to doubt yourself when you're just starting.
Totally. So how did the reviewer get over that?
They focused on building their confidence
Okay.
by looking at their strengths and celebrating their wins, even the small ones.
I like that. And did they say anything else?
Yeah. They said it's important to be around other freelancers,
Oh, yeah.
people who understand what you're going through.
It makes a difference to have people who get it.
Totally. And they also talked about having a growth mindset,
Okay.
that belief that you can always learn and get better.
Makes sense.
They said you need to keep practicing your skills,
Right.
get feedback, and stay curious.
So it's not enough to just learn the basics.
Yep.
You got to keep growing and changing with the industry.
Exactly.
Right.
The reviewer even suggested making time each week just for learning,
Like what kind of learning?
taking an online course,
Yeah.
reading industry blogs, going to workshops, things like that.
That's good advice for anyone, really.
Totally.
Uh,
No matter what you do, you got to keep learning to stay on top of things.
Okay, so remember how we were talking about niching down?
Yeah.
Well, the ebook also has advice on finding your niche,
It does.
which is something I always struggle with.
Yeah, it can be tough. So how do you know what to specialize in?
Exactly.
Well, the ebook says to start by thinking about what you're passionate about.
Okay.
What do you love to read and write about?
Makes sense.
And what skills do you have that could be useful in a specific market?
So you're looking for that place where your passions and skills line up with what people need?
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Sounds like a recipe for success.
It is.
Yeah.
And the ebook also suggests doing some research
Oh, okay.
to see what niches are hot right now
Gotcha.
and which ones have room to grow.
So it's about following your heart,
Yeah,
but also being smart about it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And once you've found your niche,
Uh-huh.
the ebook tells you how to make yourself look like an expert,
Okay.
like how to build a good portfolio and network with potential clients.
It seems like this ebook really has everything you need
It does.
to start a freelance copywriting career.
But can you really have that dream lifestyle?
You know, the freedom and flexibility we've been talking about.
Well, the reviewer's story definitely makes it seem possible.
Right.
They built a successful business that lets them work from anywhere,
Uh-huh.
set their own hours,
Yeah.
and spend more time doing what they love.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is.
Finding work that pays the bills,
Right.
but also makes you happy.
The reviewer shows us you can have a career that matches your values
Yeah.
and lets you live a meaningful life.
So if you're feeling stuck
Yeah.
or dreaming of a better work life,
Uh-huh.
this deep dive has hopefully shown you what's out there.
It reminds us that we can create our own careers
Yeah.
and build work lives that we love.
And who knows, maybe this is the push you needed
Yeah.
to take a chance and follow your passion for writing.
Maybe one day you'll be the one sharing your story.
Yeah, about how you made a career out of writing. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of copywriting.
It was fun.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep writing your own story.